Hey, Cohen here, guys, and I'm hanging with a good friend of mine, Anik Singal. We're actually at his learn facility. If you guys haven't been here, this is an amazing place. Like, I'm really impressed with some of the things that he's done. Like, this guy has went above and beyond a training center for entrepreneurs, you know? So, Anik, you just interviewed me for your podcast, right? The Fighting Entrepreneur, which, guys, if you have not subscribed to yet, you should definitely go in and subscribe to The Fighting Entrepreneur. On iTunes. You guys are on Stitcher. You're just everywhere, right?
Go to Anik Podcast. So it's ANIK podcast.com and all, because we're on YouTube, we're on all the platforms, and all the links are there.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So Anik was just giving me a quick tour, right, of this facility. We're gonna run through this really quickly. Just take a look at like how massive. There's my son Tyler there in one of the classrooms. We've got like a video room over here. I don't know even what you guys have. You've got so much stuff here, right? So, Anik, as we're here, you know, a lot of my viewers are entrepreneurs and they're looking for ways to start their own podcast. What are 3 quick tips or 3 quick suggestions that you would give for anyone that's looking to start a podcast? Like, what are the must-haves?
All right, so podcasting, you know, I'm going to give you the most cliche advice for the first one.
Let's do it.
All right, patience. I didn't have it when I started, because when you first put I started with this like 1 million person audience that we have this big email list, and I put my first episode out and we only get like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 downloads. And it was like a dagger. I'm like, why am I not getting more? Here's the key with podcasts. Podcasts are about quality, not quantity. So the listeners you get on your podcast, they become avid fans and they listen again and again, and they get to know you and trust you and love you. But it's with anything in social media, I consider podcasts as kind of a social media outlet.
Right.
I learned this from Dan Locke, so I want to give him full credit because he was spot on. Anything with social media, content publishing, content related marketing, the rule is 100. You need to do 100 episodes, 100 videos, 100 audios, 100 posts before you get even the first inkling of traction. So for us, we started getting traction around like 25, 27, but you know, these podcasts, they take a lot of time and effort and energy to think through and to make. So patience, right? And aim for the 100. That's when you're gonna get momentum before that, but at 100 you're gonna really get an idea, because at 100 you also learn what kinds of topics are getting the most play, and all of that. So you gotta know going into podcasting, it's a long-term game. I mean, I'm dealing with people now. I'm fortunate. My podcast has already crossed the listenership of people that have done this for 4 or 5 years.
Gotcha.
Right? So with an audience, it does help, but also with topics and with good messaging. So we'll move into two more tips, and this will help you grow your podcast faster. Tip number 2, I would tell you, do not downplay the impact of social media. So I was a little lazy early on, and I would not post across my different platforms that I had this new episode out.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't put it up on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, because I'd be like, my Instagram's got 25,000 followers. That's not that big. Or my LinkedIn's not got much. And so we started doing it. We started posting, and it's just simple. We took the picture of the episode and just posted, saying new episode, new episode, new episode. And all of a sudden, we actually started to see some growth. But I was, kind of confident enough that that wasn't growth from that. It was just growth because the podcast was growing.
Right.
But here's what happened. We did it for about a month, and then all of a sudden we got really busy as a team, and for about a month we didn't. We stopped all social media posting again. And you could see this. You could see the decline. You saw a decline in viewership.
Gotcha.
So we started again, and boom. So it may not seem like it's a big deal. You might be like, I only have, a few hundred people on Facebook or like 1,000 people on Instagram. It helps. It helps a lot. Just letting people know, just because they're not liking the post doesn't mean that they're not clicking and reading or going or being aware and forwarding it to people that they know. So the social media, that was really big. The third one, and this is a tricky one because not everybody will have access to this right when they start a brand new podcast, guest interviews. Now, I'm not a fan of making all my episodes guest interviews, so I only do the Wednesday episodes as guest interviews. But for me, I was fortunate because I was able to go and because of my brand, because of my name, I was able to get big people right away. But I have noticed that when I get the right guest, right? I mean, just like, for example, we were talking, you tuned in all of a sudden because you saw Roland Frazier.
I saw a mutual friend of ours.
You saw someone
Roland Frazier, right.
And so Robert Kiyosaki.
And a big name, right?
Yeah. Big name. Robert Kiyosaki, I did his episode. I flew down there and did an episode with him. On YouTube, my average episode viewership is a few hundred, 400, 500, 600, 700, maybe 1,000 after a month. I posted his 3 weeks ago, 24,000 views.
Isn't that insane? So piggybacking.
That's
off
free.
of
I just
that,
posted
right.
it up on YouTube. So you're able to piggyback off of other people's brands. So you want to hustle to make sure you have 30, 40, 50 episodes out, good data, good quality images representing your podcast, so that when you go to bigger brands and ask them to come on, that they'll say yes. And when they do come on, you get to leverage all of their brand value.
Yeah.
And that's like a growth hacking technique for podcasts. It's helped us a ton.
Gotcha. All right, so super smart. So the first thing is the power of 100, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is just momentum, going in and using all of your presence, your
Yep.
social media presence, and making sure that you're sharing there. And then the other thing is the power of leverage. So leveraging the names and the influences that you
Yep.
might have access to. And listen, folks, some of you guys are in niches, and there's big names and people that are doing big things in some of these niches that would love for you to reach out to them because no one else is reaching out to them.
Yeah.
Right. It
Oh,
makes
in
them feel
niches,
special.
yes. In
Yeah.
niches,
Yep.
if you don't have a massive audience, you can get a lot of listenership. It's just in our space, there's always someone reaching out for our time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
people do get selective, right? They want to be in front of bigger audiences, but
Absolutely.
hey, it's doable. I mean, I've gotten people like, I'm gonna get Damon John on soon.
Yeah,
right?
from Shark
Now,
Tank.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he does NBC interviews and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but he's willing to come on ours. So you can get really big. You just have to ask.
Yeah.
And look, here's the deal: you ask 10. Even if 8 say no, the 2 that say yes, worth every penny.
It's a numbers
And then
game.
when those 2 come on, 2 more will come on because they see those people on. So
Yeah.
it's a domino effect.
There you go. Hey, man, appreciate the time. 3
got
great
it.
tips. So if you're starting your podcast or if you already have one, go in and apply what Anik
Yeah.
has just taught. This guy is super smart. He's done like 200 million or something.
250 million
I
now.
saw that, right? So
Yeah.
250 million in sales. So he knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Hey, appreciate it.
You got it, man. All right, see you guys.
Peace out, guys.